Okay, let's take a look at Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Whilst the first Castlevania was a solid straightforward platformer, the second game in the series makes some significant changes to the formula, the main one being that individual levels have been discarded. Now players control Simon Belmont through a large, free-roaming, non-linear environment, not unlike Metroid. Whilst the platforming remains, Konami have altered the combat somewhat and sprinkled in some RPG elements, where the whip-cracking vampire hunter must grind for hearts which now act as the game's currency to buy weapons and helpful items. He will also be speaking to NPCs and most importantly levelling up his health to fight the legions of undead beings. Health is now restored by visiting a church in many of the towns. Simon must perform a number of tasks in order for him to visit all the mansions in the game to collect all of Dracula's remains in order to kill him later on, and remove a curse that the undead vampire left on him after their last battle. However, this game doesn't tell you where to go or what to do, and early on it's easy to hit a dead end, and often the solution revolves around using a specific item to be walked up some cliffs or even discover a hidden passage under a lake. There are also towns that must be entered and items bought and traded with from various NPCs, which are vital if you want to progress further in the game. Of course you can talk with them and some may give you certain hints, whilst others just give you general chit chat. I mean, I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some long forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, "Hurry boy, Drac's waiting there for you, and while you're at it, buy some laurels." So it's up to you to try and decipher the mysteries that this game holds, and after the simplistic nature of the first Castlevania, this second quest might take players by surprise as there are many forks in the road, secrets to discover and items to find. Luckily Konami have very thoughtfully incorporated a password system so you can carry on your progress, meaning that you don't have to finish this game in one go, which is a really good thing because this game can be extremely cryptic for first timers. Fighting monsters and undead beings takes on a new twist as killing them earns Simon hearts, which are now his currency. The game also does a really good day to night transition where things change temporarily. In the daytime the towns and shops are all open and bustling and the monsters are weak. When nighttime occurs they all shut and the monsters become stronger, and it will take more hits to kill them. This to me is a very cool inclusion, as fighting stronger monsters can also net you more hearts and help to level up Simon, which is essential. Were you tired of sub-weapons running out in the first game? Well, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest solves all these problems. Once you buy a weapon, it's yours to use infinitely, and there's even an inventory menu which shows you how many items and weapons you have and allows you to choose which one you would like to use and when. The open world aspect itself works extremely well, and it's exciting when you discover a new town or find a secret weapon or hidden room somewhere. The mansions themselves that you have to visit are pretty straightforward and quite easy to navigate. All that's required is that you buy an oak stake from an Obi-Wan Kenobi lookalike, face an occasional boss, and use this oak stake on each orb to gain one of Dracula's remains. Speaking of bosses, the one complaint I hear about this game all the time is that there's hardly any and that they are ridiculously easy. Now this is true and I can see why it would bother people. My theory is that in the first game Dracula had risen from the grave, so to speak, and because of this his power commanded the armies of monsters to attack at full force. In Simon's Quest technically he's dead, and so the bosses who are there are ridiculously weak. I mean, even Dracula doesn't pull up much of a fight. So from a challenge perspective I do feel that Konami should have had proper bosses like in the first game, and because of this you'll be burning through each of the mansions with no problems at all. The graphics are what you would expect from a Castlevania game, dark, gothic, extremely well detailed and defined, and the presentation does make me feel like I'm in a Hammer horror movie. This is a great game to play late at night as it adds atmosphere. Konami have even beefed up the number of enemies you face, with old favourites returning such as the skeletons, mermen and Medusa, and newcomers such as werewolves, giant plants and grotesque hands joining them, as well as swamp creatures and many demons. They can be a lot more challenging than in the first game. The knockback effect still occurs when Simon gets hit, but it's been toned down a little here and is less bothersome this time. Also, in some sections Simon can be instantly killed if he mistimes his jump. There are also a few times where players must try and jump across floating blocks to get to some areas that are pivotal to helping Simon make significant progress in his adventure. Slipping and falling is extremely annoying, but it's all about timing it just right. Also don't worry if you get a game over, as you can continue infinitely and respawn right at the point that you died on. The music and sound effects are absolutely incredible, and the contrasting tracks that play in the day and night sections work really well. The daytime theme sounds very light-hearted and heroic, and the nighttime theme being a bit more urgent, forcing you to want to survive. I also liked the mansion theme also, which is played in each one that you visit. Now, many people consider this game to be weaker than the first due to the changes that were made, and some may not like this open world RPG platforming style, preferring just to have a standard set of levels to blast through. I actually prefer this game to the first one. I mean, Castlevania is a decent enough game, but my god is it hard, severely punishing, and tests my patience. Half the time it just felt like too much, like overkill, and they just threw too many enemies at me. Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest is much more immersive, varied, fun, and not too challenging. Letting the player decide which way to go and what to do allows for some thinking as to how to tackle a certain section or tough enemies. Also, this game rewards you every step of the way, and often, and whilst some parts of this game can be quite cryptic once you figure out what item does what, then this game just feels so magical. There's also a ton of hidden weapons to buy, items to find and trade, and this is a game that is worth replaying, as there are 3 endings you can achieve depending on how long you take to get to Dracula's items, lots to see and hidden tricks to learn. Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest is just as good if not better than the original, and given that the same RPG elements continue throughout most of the series, this is the game that started the trend. Thank you for watching my review. If you have enjoyed it, then why not smash that like button and subscribe, as you'll really be helping my channel to grow. You'll also be instantly notified when I upload a new video. Until next time, take care.